So this story is about bokashi and wood chips. Here in this little garden behind me I've got a climbing rose that's not climbing on anything because it needs something to climb on, but never mind. And the whole area around it I've covered in wood chips. They're quite old now, but they work really, really well as mulch and I love them. So I get truckloads of those and spread them around the garden. But the thing with wood chips is that you have to feed them with nitrogen to balance out all the carbon, because wood chips are, they will break down, but to break down they need nitrogen, and they will take that nitrogen from the soil so that they can aid their breaking down process. That's just nature doing its work. But if you put a whole lot of wood chips onto a garden like this or any other garden, what you'll find is they might actually take nitrogen from the plants, which means the plants don't actually feel that good while they're growing in wood chips. It's not really the fault of the wood chips, but you can counteract that by feeding them with nitrogen. I toss out some bokashi liquid. It's not the most nitrogen heavy thing in the world, but if you add enough of it, it will both help the roses and the plants underneath, and it will help the wood chips. There's also one of the bacteria that's in the bokashi originally, which is it's called Rhodopseudomonas palustris, and that actually helps break down the lignin which is in the wood chips, which will help speed up the transfer of the carbon to the soil. So wood chips need to be fed charged with nitrogen before you, if you want them to work really, really well in the garden. Another way of doing that is to take chicken pellets or some sort of chicken manure or whatever that's quite high in nitrogen, soak it in a watering can and water that out. Do it at the right time for the roses, which, you know, spring is good, or any time up to the middle part of the summer, but definitely not in the autumn when the plants need to start resting. But if you can charge your wood chips in that way with nitrogen, they'll do a really, really good job of protecting the plants and gradually breaking down and increasing the carbon in the soil, which will increase the microlife and make the soil have a better structure and help it hold water better. So anything you can do to add carbon into the soil is good, and wood chips are fantastic. But just be aware of that thing that you do have to feed them with some sort of nutrients, nitrogen-based nutrients, to help them so they don't steal from your other plants.